think's holding back your singing? Could it be that tension you have? Shut up and sing with Heather. Hello, and welcome to Shut Up and Sing with Heather. I'm Heather, your professional voice teacher, here to give you some helpful hints and tips to make you the best singer you can be. Today, we're going to be talking about tension. Everybody is a little bit tense. There's kind of nothing you can do about it. It's a little bit of the human condition. But today, we're going to talk about how it can affect your singing. So, one of the things we want to start with is our posture and breathing. We talked about that in another video. And when we talk about posture, as long as we keep our posture nice and open here, but nice and relaxed as well. I know it's tricky. I tell you to put your body in a certain position, stand straight, and then I go, okay, but relax. I know that's not easy to do, but you want to feel like the body is still something you can move around, okay? We don't want to get stuck. So for tension, let's start with our shoulders, okay? So I like to give myself a little bit of shoulder rolls before we get started. Lots of people hold tension in their shoulders. It's a really great place to start working out and see if you also are one of those people that holds tension there. Remember, we want to keep this space here as relaxed as possible. So we keep these shoulders relaxed. We want to keep the neck relaxed. Some neck rolls are great too. When we do the neck rolls for singing, this is what we want to do. Put your chin to your chest. Roll one ear to one shoulder. Come to the front again. Roll the other ear to the other shoulder. And just let everything hang. Come back to the front. And maybe do it all again. Something like that can really help with some neck tension. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty. The two things that are the most problematic for singers, they are jaw and tongue tension. So when we start to think about our jaw, the first thing we want to do is give it a little massage. Open it up. You can feel that joint in there. Give it a massage there. Move the jaw back and forth. You might feel a little bit of grinding in there. That's okay, as long as it doesn't hurt. We don't want to do anything that hurts, okay? Now, if you have something like TMJ or some kind of very serious jaw problem, us voice teachers, we know a little bit about that because we deal with singers who need to open their mouth. But if you've got a really serious problem, you need to go see a dentist about it. But don't let it go away. Not being able to open your jaw is a huge situation for singers. You just have to be able to have complete control over your jaw movement. So if it's something that's really impeding you and you're getting a lot of pain, please go see your dentist or your doctor about it. Okay, so for those of us who just have kind of like maybe a tight jaw because we're feeling a little tense about things, these types of massages and a little gentle movement is helpful. There are also some really easy exercises that we can do to help with jaw tension. So I don't like to do anything very difficult. We're just starting on middle C or an octave below for those guys out there. So just in a nice comfortable range for most people. And we're just going to do a triad, which is do, mi, so, or 1, 3, 5, however you like to think about it. And we're going to sing it on an ah, and we're going to gently move our jaw around. So here's what it's going to look and sound like. Ah, ah, ah. And we can move up. You don't want to go too high or too low with this. And when we move the jaw, we want it to move freely and effortlessly. So it's not marching band, folks. You're not going to right? None of that business. You want it to move freely. You might even feel like it's going to go in a circle, something like that, just to start to relax it out, okay? Again, not too high, not too low in those exercises. So that's a good one for the jaw. We want the jaw to hang freely when we're singing, right? We don't want it to be an active participant when we're singing. It's part of our articulators, and that's how we want it to work, but we don't want it to be in charge, okay? It does what we tell it to do, not the other way around. Now, the other thing that is a big problem with singers is the tongue. I know it's a little weird to talk about the tongue, but one of these videos we're going to talk about phlegm, and then it's going to get really weird. So we got to talk about the tongue tension, right? The tongue is a big muscle in our mouth, and it can cause lots of problems. Everything's connected back there, so we have to make sure it's nice and relaxed. Mostly where you get the tongue tension is actually at the base of the tongue, which is way in the back. We really can't see it, but you can feel it. So I want you to think in your head maybe about a singer that you know, that you've heard that maybe sounds like they're swallowing their voice a little bit. There might be a little bit of something going on that sounds maybe a wee bit Kermit the Frog-ish. That's tongue tension, guys. Whenever you hear something like that, that's what's going on. And it really is a game changer for us. So if you think you have some tongue tension, which, let's be honest, we all do, you need to start out your practice sessions with just doing some gentle tongue exercises. So the first thing we want to do is just stick the tongue out. So you use the muscles to push the tongue out, and then you just release the muscles, and guess what? The tongue's just going to come back in. It's a miracle. So we stick it out, comes back in. You stick it out, it comes back in. You do that about 5 times. And then the other one we want to do is the tongue sweep. And that's where we take the tip of the tongue and we run it over the roof of the mouth. Here we go. I'm going to do it again. So the muscles that are connected in the tongue are actually both horizontal muscles and vertical muscles. So when we stick our tongue out, it's doing the vertical muscles. And when we do the tongue sweep, it stretches out the horizontal muscles. We look a little froggy when we do it. There it is. So you do those 5 times, you're going to start relaxing that tongue out. The other thing you could do is paint the inside of your mouth. One of my students taught me this one. It's pretty cool. You just circle that tongue around in there. I know it looks a little strange, but guys, this is going to be really big for you. Now, when you're singing and you're just singing vowel sounds, the tip of the tongue, for most of us, should just be gently resting behind the bottom front teeth. Okay? If you find your tongue starting to float back into your mouth, that's tongue tension. Okay? Now, granted, everybody's made a little differently. Maybe you've got a really short tongue, but for most of us, the tongue should be sitting comfortably behind those bottom front teeth. Doesn't matter what vowel you're singing or where you are on your register, you should have that tongue sitting comfortably back there. So again, if you feel that tongue floating up, that's tongue tension, and we really want to do everything we can to get rid of it. Again, hard thing to do, folks. So I'm going to give you a couple exercises that I hope are helpful for you. So we can go back to that triad that we did before with the jaw. Again, when you're working these sorts of things out, I don't think you need to do anything terribly difficult. You just want to find easy exercises that you can focus on the technique with. So we can go back to our C major, right? And this time we're going to do it with the tongue out. It's going to sound a little funny, but that's okay. And then we could put the tongue in. And work our way up from there. So that means every single triad that you're doing is going to be done 2 times. One with the tongue out, one with the tongue in. Now, I started that one pretty low, but I find that a lot of students have little troubles on their upper passaggio with their tongue. So remember, the upper passaggio or the break is when we're going from middle voice to head voice. And a lot of times the tongue will start to do a little kickback during there. So if I'm working with those students, I don't start quite so low with that exercise. I'll start a little bit higher. It kind of depends on the student, but maybe F major, somewhere around there, and work it up to maybe G, A flat, somewhere around there, G or A flat on top. So that would be C major, C sharp, you know, depending on the student, to try to work through that upper passaggio. And remember, these are exercises that you won't do one time and fix the problem. It's going to take a lot of repetition. Another exercise that's really good for tongue tension is the word hung. H-U-N-G, and we're really going to focus on the N-G at the end, okay? So this one's going to be a descending pattern, again, super easy, not hard. This one starts on G major, D's on top, right? So again, you can pick an octave, and we're going to say the word hung, 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 hung. So what to note about this exercise is we're working the back of the tongue, right? Hung, 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 but notice that the jaw really doesn't move much. Look, everything's going to move a little. We're not soldiers. We're not going to hold everything tight, but we're not going to hung, 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 right? We're not going to chew it. So keep the jaw nice and relaxed, and we're going to go down. Hung, 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 hung. Hung, 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 hung. Go all the way down until you get to about C major, B flat, something like that. Work that exercise, and then sometimes for good measure, I like to go back up and do the same exercise, but this time we do a hung, 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 and see if the tongue has relaxed out a little bit. So the big thing with jaw and tongue tension is acknowledging when you have it. That you can feel that jaw tightening up, oh, not really wanting to open, maybe even popping open. You can feel that tongue getting in the way a little bit, and if it's doing straight as a board, that's a problem too. So once you acknowledge that you have it, then you need to slowly work through these exercises, or maybe other exercises that you find to try to combat that. Tongue tension and jaw tension can really be a game changer for you. It's going to change you from having straight tones and not a lot of sound in the sound to having really big, beautiful sound. When the jaw and tongue are tight, the muscles attached to the larynx get tight. And then that doesn't allow the larynx to vibrate freely and create big, beautiful sounds and vibrato. So we really want to combat this thing. Look, if you have jaw or tongue tension, join the crowd. Everybody has it. But we can work slowly and efficiently to get rid of it and make you the best singer you can be. I hope this has been helpful. This is Heather with Shut Up and Sing. Now shut up, get out there and do some singing.
But it dee da dee do da 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 do but dee da dee da